toxic masculinity.
Black Lives Matter is banned from the Olympics. I love this. I love this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to celebrate. I shouldn't be celebrating this. And I'll tell you why I shouldn't be celebrating this. I shouldn't be celebrating this because I am for free speech. I think everybody should be able to say whatever they want on any platform, Twitter, Facebook, the Olympics, whatever. But the problem with the Olympics in particular, and I'm really sick of athletes trying to inject some kind of virtue signaling message during sporting events. And the reason I have a problem with this isn't because, like, I actually support Kaepernick. A lot of people might think that's crazy, but I support Kaepernick's right to kneel during the national anthem, which I don't agree with him at all. I don't agree with him at all. I think he's an idiot. But he has the right to express himself in that way. It was a simple way of expressing himself. He wasn't making a huge fuss. I think it was fine. A lot of people think that that's the reason he's not working with the NFL anymore. Like but I think the reason for that is just he's not that great of a player. I think he's riding on the notoriety that he got from the kneeling controversy. But the thing is, I think he should be able to kneel. Now that said, with regard to the Olympics, let's have a look here at what we're looking at. This is an article in Breitbart. With regard to the Olympics, here's what I think about it. Oh shoot! Hopefully Am I broadcasting audio? Yes, I am. Everybody cool? All right. With regard to the Olympics, the Olympics is an international sporting event. Well, series of sporting events that could you imagine every single country in the world airing their political grievances at the Olympics every year? Okay, so like the one thing that I definitely think should be able to be censored, one kind of speech that should be able to be censored, is speech that silences other people, right? Clearly silences other people, and that's its intention, right? So like, you see video. There's a famous video of Jordan Peterson trying to explain something, speak. I think it was on his college campus, and some kind of activist types that didn't like him came out with like a bullhorn, and they just kept blaring this siren. It was like an air horn or something. They kept blaring the siren so that and blasting music and stuff like that, so that nobody could hear Jordan Peterson. And so I don't agree with that as a form of speech. I don't think silencing one person's speech is an acceptable form of your speech, right? It's sort of like saying, well, I have a problem with the murder of animals, and so I'm going to murder children so that people understand my problem with murdering animals, right? Certainly it's an effective message, right? Murdering children would certainly get attention. Certainly murdering children would get people to pay attention to what you're saying, and they would clearly hear what you're saying, and the message would be clear, right? Especially if this is combined with other kind of messaging. So from an advertising standpoint, brilliant. But obviously we can't allow people to be murdering children as a form of expression, right? As a form of speech. And in the same way, I think that curtailing someone else's freedom of speech is something that we need to say, well, that's a problem, right? That's not acceptable. That's illegal. You can't silence other people's speech as a method of speaking yourself. My buddy's writing me because I told him to jump into crypto. So right now I have a dip in Dogecoin. I know I like to update you guys on my Dogecoin investments. And so I told my buddy, you should jump in now if you haven't yet. Because there's a bit of a dip at the moment. So if you guys are interested in jumping into that, feel free. Again, don't do it with money you're not afraid to lose, because it is a risky kind of a thing. But I think it will go up probably somewhere to like 80, 90, something like that. But I would say jump out before Saturday, because Elon Musk is supposed to go on Saturday Night Live and talk about Doge. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think there's going to be a dip on Saturday. Not 100% sure, but that's my guess. Again, I'm not a genius in any of this kind of stuff. This is just my like wild speculation. All right, let's get back to the story. So what does silencing other people's speech have to do with banning political speech at the Olympics? So, one way to silence speech, right? One way to silence speech is to, for instance, if you went to my comment section, for instance, and you just wrote X, enter, X, enter, X, enter, X, enter, X, enter, and you just wrote X, 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 X throughout the thing, you would essentially clog up the chat room. And a lot of people who wanted to express themselves would not be able to express themselves. Oh, good Lord. Oh, there we go. My air came. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's very distracting to me, so I'm going to turn it off. Off, damn you. Okay. And that's something that, right, and that's a technique that some people use to silence speech. Now, I think that if you were trying to express yourself at the Olympics politically, you may not be intending to silence anyone else's speech. You may not be trying to trying to stop other people from expressing themselves, but that may be the effect. And the reason I say that is because there's just so many people from so many different countries, and all of those people have different political views. You know, I think people probably from Venezuela may want to speak up against their government. People from China may want to express some kind of an idea about the politics of their country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can end up getting a lot of propaganda from the government, or you could get speech against various governments, or against different factions within your country. And it all becomes this sort of convoluted mess eventually. If the Olympics eventually becomes simply a platform for people to express political views, then you lose what the Olympics is, which is just, a series of events showcasing human achievement in physical prowess, the top, the best possible. Okay, so people are texting me about irrelevant things. I thought maybe it was about the show. It wasn't. We want to keep it about that. We want to keep it about the athleticism of these amazing athletes, and we don't want to overshadow that with a million different political messages. Now, if this was something that was held by an event that was held by the Americans, but by us in our country every single year, then I would say, okay, well, this is not appropriate. We need to allow political speech at this event. But it's not something that's held by Americans, and not every country has free speech laws like we do. And again, like I said, it's something that's supposed to bring people together, not divide people. And political messaging at an event like this, I think, could have that effect eventually. Now, if the Olympics were a venue, that was the best place to express your political ideas, right? Like if throughout the world there weren't other avenues to express political ideas, I would actually say that we should fight for the ability to express themselves, for athletes to express their political views at the Olympics. But because we have the internet now, I think it becomes redundant, right? You don't need to have you don't need to have political messages at the Olympics because you have so many other avenues to express yourself. Any one of these athletes can gain a platform using the Olympics online and then use that platform to express themselves, express political views. So that way, I think it can be useful. I think the Olympic Committee has also said that you're perfectly free to express your political beliefs anywhere except actually at the Olympic ceremonies. Those are the only places that it's not allowed, which I like, because I just don't think it should become a platform for political messaging. And I especially like it because this is the first time I've ever seen anyone say that Black Lives Matter is not welcome here. And so that's the real I think win that we have here. I mean, how brave is the Olympic Committee to say no Black Lives Matter allowed? Like, that's crazy to me. That's just crazy, because Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. I don't care what anybody says about that being like hate speech or bigoted or whatever. No. They burn down buildings. they kill people, it's a terrorist organization, right? They're trying to instill fear into the populace in order for... This guy's got to stop testing me. All right. I'm live on streaming. I'm live streaming. I'll say that. Okay, stop bothering me. All right, well, let's read this article that Breitbart has here. Okay, Olympic athletes will not be allowed to wear Black Lives Matter apparel during ceremonies of the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games, according to new rules posted by the International Olympics Committee, the IOC. The IOC revealed its new policy changes last month, noting that no political demonstrations will be allowed on the field of play. And IOC officials, okay, so not on the field of play and not at the ceremonies, right? And IOC officials have since confirmed the rules also ban any use of Black Lives Matter imagery, logos. Okay, he's still texting me. What the hell? Logos, apparel, slogans, activism, and activism, according to TMZ Sports. Athletes will also be barred from political activism. And hold on a second, guys. What is going on here? There we go. Okay. Okay. Olympians are not banned from all activism, however. Competitors? I don't think contestants is a good... They're not on a game show. Competitors, I'll just add that, a little bit of editorial license there. Competitors will be allowed to use BLM slogans during team meetings, interviews, and press conferences. The IOC claimed that its prohibitions on athlete activism came after a poll found that the majority of the 3,500 athletes polled favored the ban. Because again, like this is a case of like a small number of activists spoiling things for everyone, right? It's like I said, that troll in the comment section writing X, enter, X, enter, X, enter, X, enter, just trying to clog up the chat with, blocking other people from speaking. If you eclipse the messaging of the Olympic Games, which is, like I said, the amazing ability of these athletes, with this Black Lives Matter messaging, then you change the Olympics into something that I don't think the Olympic Committee wants. I don't think anybody wants. I don't think any of you're doing a disservice to the other athletes, right? We're trying to showcase the ability of these people, the training that they've done for years of their life. They've invested lots and lots of money, lots and lots of time. They are peak athletes, and you are casting a shadow over them with some political speech that we've been getting this political speech from every angle for the past year at least. And years before that, they just didn't call it BLM before that. And so it's not necessary that be present there at the Olympics. Leave the Olympics out of politics. I think that's actually fine. And again, like I said, it's an international thing. So it's not like we're trying to protect the rights of Americans' free speech. We're just trying to make this game free of controversy, which I totally appreciate that. I think that in another circumstance, I actually would be against this. If this were something to do with human rights or something like that. Now, if there was a huge human rights crisis around the world. Now that I think would probably be the BLM argument, that it's a human rights crisis and therefore it's cruel not to bring attention to it. And that's why all these stupid companies like Nike and crap are like, oh yeah, we love BLM. We love BLM. Yeah. Stop police killing unarmed black men. But all of these people should know, if they do any research into it at all, that it's based on a lie, right? All of the statistics that BLM puts out, they're lies, right? They are manipulations of statistics to make it look like black people are, dying, disproportionately at the hands of police. They're not. Okay, they're not. We all know that, obviously. Let's have a look here. A very clear majority of the athletes said that they think it's not appropriate to demonstrate or express their views on the field of play at the official ceremonies or at the podium, said the IOC Athletes Commission Chief Kirsty Coventry. That's kind of a nice name. I don't know why I like Coventry. That's part of that's a place in England, Coventry. That's right, yeah. So our recommendation is to preserve the podium, field of play, and official ceremonies from any kind of protests or demonstrations or acts perceived as such, Coventry added. One thing the IOC did not clear up is possible punishments for violating the ban on activism. Punishment, the IOC said, will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Capital punishment, I imagine, is the consequence, right? They'll be put to death. That's the only firing squad, maybe? Lethal injection? I don't care. That's a joke, obviously. All right. That is it for that one. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that. Please leave your questions and comments for the end of the show because I can't look at them at the moment, right? But if you do have a question, do you have a comment, maybe write it down on a piece of paper and then throw it into a super chat at the end of the show, or just write at toxic space masculinity and I'll see it and I'll respond to it. But please leave your questions and comments till the end of the show and I will respond to as many of them as I can. But yeah, hopefully some of you guys have some kind of passionate response about this. It seems like something that is controversial because, like I said, I'm not for banning speech, but in this particular case, I think it's a great thing. Okay, so let's move on, shall we? Next story. Okay, let me see what this guy's writing me. Okay. Oh, he's writing about the show now. So my buddy Kurt has written, the Olympics don't want to color ratings. I think he means like the Oscars have. And I don't think he means color. I think he messed that up. Kurt, if you're going to write me something on the show, spell things correctly. What is that? Do a little bit of an edit. And then he writes, stupidity knows no borders. That was spelled correctly. I appreciate that. All right, so let's move on to the next story. Story number 2. This is pretty annoying. The second story is pretty annoying. Twitter suspends from the desk of Donald J. Trump Twitter account. All right, now let's have a look at this story. This is unbelievable. Okay, so as you guys know, because I reported it the other day, Donald Trump, having been banned from all social media, has started his own webpage where he just posts tweets, essentially. But they're not tweets, they're just messages that go out over email, I think, for the most part. I haven't signed up for it myself, but I should probably do that. Emails that say, like, what his thoughts are during the day, right? And I'm sure that there's lots of people who read those tweets, lots of people who get those emails, and there's lots of people who want to get those in an easy, digestible way over Twitter. And so somebody came along and they made an account and they started posting Trump's tweets from the desk of Donald Trump account. And Twitter was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.